Okay, we're live now.
Okay,
Okay, so let's start out with loveliest of trees.
this trees are okay. Number one, very briefly, this poem presents a philosophy of life. In a sense, what is it?
Okay, well, I think that this poem specifically, I think it talks about how like beauty, like the loveliest of trees, like isn't defined by like a aesthetic standard, but rather like our experience. Like, for example, this person's experience growing up with the trees. I don't know. What do you think?
Mm, I guess you're right. I mean, I can't come up with myself like a better explanation.
I mean,
I
I
mean,
think
He
because
just loves trees, man.
because the poem's talking about how every springtime he decides to view, but he later like realizes that he only has like 50 more times he can view it, so he really wants to like I don't know like capture like all the moments, so he decides to go view it in the winter. So it just shows like you can find beauty like in other places in life, or like in like at other times. It doesn't have to be like one specific time every springtime to go see the tree. You can see like your loved ones like whenever you want, in a sense.
yeah, I don't know. Do you think beauty is limited by time?
I don't think so because in the poem he finds beauty even during winter, like when the branches are bare.
And he finds beauty in the fact that it doesn't last forever.
Okay. Um, okay, so number two is how old is the speaker? Why does he assume that his life will be 70 years in length? What is surprising about the words only and little?
How much is a score again? Like
Scores like 20 years.
What's, oh yeah, four score, yeah, I think that's 20 years. So the speaker
He's
is
20 right now, right?
3 times 4 times plus 10, so 22? Is he 22?
I don't know. I'm bad with that.
Well, he's a
Okay.
bit more than 20.
Yeah.
And he is not 70.
Well, that's why
Okay,
he
so,
assumes he's gonna be 70.
okay, so the speaker is 22 years old, and he assumes that his life will be 70 years in length. Why?
I don't know. How old is this guy? Well, he lived to like 77. I mean,
Yeah, okay, well, I think
I
he's just
don't know.
I think he's just assuming his life will be 70 years because that's like the average lifespan of his time period.
Probably.
You're getting food!
What's going on back there?
Oh, you! Stop making fun of me! I'm not giving you anything!
Is that your sister?
Yeah.
Lol.
Is that a dog just like huffing?
Hey,
Say
okay, so
hi.
let's stay on track, guys.
Mama, please!
Oh shit.
It's your fault he's like this!
Oh my god. Oh shit. Hey, we have
Alright.
limited time, so Brian, if you get Sherry to be a bit more quiet. Okay,
Let's
uh,
continue on.
number three. A good deal of ink has been spilt over whether snow is literal or figurative. What do you say?
I'm saying figurative as in it's real or is it not?
Figurative as in, like, does it represent something or not, Jay?
Okay, people are like literally actually means figuratively and figuratively actually means
No,
literally.
okay, people are not like that, Jay.
No, that was a thing at one point.
No, it wasn't.
Fine, then literally, snow is real because winter. Um,
Okay, well, I think snow is literal only because I don't think there's like I don't. I feel like if it was figurative, I don't know what snow would be like analogous to, simply because there's not much that like hangs around for winter and then leaves and then like prevents you from being beautiful, I guess, since it's on the tree. Does that kind of make sense?
I guess.
What do you think, Brian? Brian,
Which from?
Brian Liang.
I think it's literal because it's just. I mean, like the way I interpreted it was like it's just in the winter time when it's snowing. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
basically what that tells us is that we're uncreative and we can't think of reasons why it's figurative. Okay, next.
I don't see why it would be figured.
No, I think it's literal because in line in line 2 it says it's hung with blue along the bow, and then later on it says hung with snow. I think it's a comparison, like a juxtaposition between being like sagged with a lot of flowers and then being sagged with a lot of snow. But that's my interpretation of it.
Okay. You already heard what I thought.
Yeah. Alright, moving on. Stopping by the woods on a snowy evening.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so how do these two poems differ in idea? Okay, so I think Loveliest of Trees is a little more like whimsical, I guess, and it's a lot more light. It's just talking about this guy that's just appreciating this cherry tree he grew up with and wants to see it a lot more and more. But I think Stopping by the woods on a snowy evening has a more like melancholy, like wintry feel to it. It like evokes like a sense of nostalgia and just sadness with it. Like he grew up in this place, like in New England or something, and understands like this melancholy like beauty to it, of the woods, and just wants to like watch it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the second one is a bit more like I feel like the second one considers more perspectives, like thinking about like what the horse thinks and so on, like different perspectives of how other people might perceive him appreciating the beauty of his surroundings, whereas the previous poem literally is only about that person's perspective.
Brian Liang, you said that the second one invokes nostalgia. I think the first one does more.
Well, I think both of them like deal with nostalgia because the second one also talks about how like he has promises to keep and so on, like and yeah, and like talking about like how he thinks he knows the woods around him. I feel like that contributes also to nostalgia, although the previous one seems to be a bit more comprehensive in the description of the foresty cherry tree.
True.
Okay. What contrasts are suggested between the speaker in the second poem and A is horse and B the owner of the woods?
Contrast as in similarities, or
It says what contrasts are suggested.
Okay, so his horse is kind of like a. I guess it's more like safety. I interpreted the woods as like this dark time of his life or something. Like at the last stanza, it says the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. So it's saying like I have to still live life instead of watching these woods all day long. So I think woods kind of symbolize like this like peaceful death, like do not go gentle into that good sleep. And it says and miles to
Night, rage against the something night.
yeah.
But yeah, okay.
So I think that his horse is like his safety mechanism. Like, oh, he needs to go back. The horse doesn't understand like why he's in the woods so much. Or it's also like an outside perspective looking inwards, saying it's for him to like allow to explain why the woods is so significant to him.
Yeah, I feel like both of them are like. I think the difference between the speaker and the other perspectives is that the other perspectives seem to be a bit more critical of what the speaker is actually enjoying and like his view of beauty and his nostalgic feelings, and that like there's a lack of empathy between them. What do you think, Jay?
What about the Owner of the Woods and the horse?
Yeah.
Horse is confused, new area. But just to clarify, the narrator is the owner of the woods, right?
No.
No, the narrator is the person. He will not see me stopping there in his house. That's the owner of the woods.
I'm sorry, you're confused there for a second.
Come on, Jay, step up your game.
I'm blanking right now, sorry. Come back to me.
The owner of the woods is kind of like this god person. I don't know. He's like
Wait, so he's just like watching everybody?
because he's not mentioned. It says that he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up. It doesn't like bring him into the scene at all. It just feels like he's like the owner of the woods. He's like the guardian of the woods or something. But he doesn't care.
I feel like he cares. It's just I feel like it's like a whole separate character with different motivations and so on.
It's not like some guy just gonna bust out with a gun and say, hey, get out of my woods. It's just woods. Like, does he have a
Yeah,
reason to care?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I don't know. Okay. Is that all for the second poem then?
Yeah. On to Coochie. Alright, let me look up Marlon Proffer.
Okay, so marl means that it's a sediment. It's like this really cheap sediment. It's normally used to actually
Oh, it's a sedimentary rock or soil consisting of clay and lime.
Okay. So
it's
yeah,
used for
fine.
fertilizer in soil. So I kind of think it evokes the sense of insignificance of Coochie, that her life was, I don't know, wasn't worth living, and she was just buried in this sediment thing, and wasn't given like a proper burial with a coffin or anything.
Yeah. Proffer just means to offer, literally.
Extend, submit.
Yeah, in this scenario, I think it just means, yeah, submit, I think. Wave after wave, just bring about wave after wave, I think is what it means. And it just kind of helps contribute to, like, the sense of, like, how every wave after wave, it just seems endless, interminable. I feel like Proffer just makes it seem, like, kind of, like, optional, you know what I mean? Like, the wave just happens to come
Circle of life.
almost, like, on its own, like by its own will. It's motivated to offer. The sea is motivated to offer like a wave after wave. I don't know. The second question is, what does the poem tell us about the principal characters Coochie and Miss Lula?
Coochie is just, house servant. And Lula was blind, right? Oh no, deaf, sorry. So I mean,
Coochie's dead.
no, Lula's deaf.
Oh, wait. Coochie's not
No,
dead.
Lula's deaf.
Wait, what? Coochie
It
is
says,
dead.
yeah, Coochie is dead, I know
Yeah,
that.
okay, yeah. She's lying in the marl and she's in the grave.
Yeah,
And
and
then
Miss
Miss
Lula
Lula
is
is dead.
deaf.
Yeah.
Line 5, she just can't hear.
Well, it feels like Miss Lula is kind of sad that Coochie is gone. Like simply because like the description about how like the moonlights can like melt like the pink wax roses and so on. That like talk about like Miss Lula's losses. And like I feel like the relationship between the two is that like Coochie is like an intrinsic part of Miss Lula because she makes up for the handicap that Miss Lula has for not being able to like hear. Like it's in that line 13 where it's like, but who will shout and make her understand? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, Coochie was kind of a big part of Lula's life. But
I don't know. The speaker just seems really pissed off about how like nobody cares about about Coochie. Just like Coochie was a servant, then
she's
she was
literally
forced.
a tool for Lula. Like that's all.
But I feel like Coochie is like I don't know, like I just see the melting of pink wax roses that were like placed to mark losses. I feel like that kind of represents that she cares. Or that like the narrative like I don't know, it just doesn't make Miss Lula seem as bad.
Yeah, but she's gonna need a replacement, right? So it's just not like she can. It's not like it was like a spouse or something. It's just I use this person to help me with chores. Need someone else now.
Okay, so what do you think then in the next question the speaker's attitude towards Coochie and Miss Lula are?
So cute.
Do you think the speaker respects Coochie?
Yeah, I think wait, what? Say that again?
Do you think she respects her or like
Poem
looks?
is named Coochie.
I think that she respects Coochie, but respects Miss Lula a bit less. In that, like Miss Coochie has provided services that are like indescribably like beneficial for Miss Lula, but Miss Lula doesn't particularly seem to have made any like equal compensation for Coochie.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like Coochie isn't as respected as she is because she's addressed as a servant. She's not like her own person. She's like, this is Coochie. She's not didn't do this and that. Like, she's addressed as someone else, and she's subservient to someone else.
Yeah, the subservient nature of the description, just like intrinsically entrenches like submission, I guess.
Yeah, like she's under Miss Lula. Just want to start off the poem by letting you know that this person is less than that person.
Okay. You want to move on to the next question?
Yep. Oh, how does the symbol of the ocean near the end of the poem help to clarify the significance of Coochie's life?
Well, I feel like, do you know that one psychology question where it's like, what's your favorite body of water, and it like describes your like what type of relationship you like to have with people and so on?
No, what is that?
Oh, you don't know what it is?
No, what is it?
So it's like the question is like, oh, what's your favorite body of water, and it like the words that you use to describe it describe like what type of relationships you like. And so I just thought of that because like I felt
Shallow
like this,
ball?
what?
The pond.
No, but like I was just thinking about that because the ocean seems to be like a deep, like like I don't know. It's kind of in a sense it's mysterious, but it's also like encompassing and like I don't know. It just seems caring. I don't know why.
Overwhelmingly large.
No, I just feel like it's like having like a big heart, right? And so like I just thought that that was like the significance of Coochie's life, in my opinion. What do you
Yeah, I
guys
didn't really
think?
understand. I don't really understand this piece. Like, what's it mean by on line 14 it says, but who will shout and make her understand?
Miss
Shout at
Lula,
Miss Lulu.
Miss Lula's death. Like I think that's quite literal. Like if you don't have Coochie, then like Miss Lula's death.
Make her understand about what?
What?
Make her understand about what? Like,
Just
Cootie's
anything.
death?
She's deaf. Like she can't hear. Like what do you not understand about that?
But make her understand about what? Like, what's the point of mentioning that in the poem?
Your ears.
No, she's saying that like if you don't have Coochie, Coochie used to yell and help her understand things that she couldn't hear.
So so she's feeling bad for Miss Lulu as well.
Yeah, just a bit, I guess. I don't think that's that significant, but yeah.
All right, design.
Okay.
Characters. Confirm. Mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual.
I feel like in this case, it's just talking about like characters as in actual characters, like the personification of death and blight.
Probably.
Yeah. And then what's a snowdrop?
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Oh, it's a My Little Pony character. Oh no. A widely cultivated bulbous European plant that bears drooping white flowers during the late winter.
So is that what like the spider looks like then?
I mean, it's probably like very, like the color and texture is probably very similar.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the heelal is a wildflower, usually blue or violet, but occasionally white, found and blooming along roadsides in the summer. It was once supposed to have healing qualities, hence its name. Of what significance, scientific and poetic, is the fact that the spider, the heelal, and the moth are all white? And then, like, what is the significance of that the spider is dimpled and fat like a snowdrop, and that the flower is innocent and named heelal? What do you think?
Uh,
Hello?
yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay,
I don't know, is there like a juxtaposition between the spider and the flower?
So flower might suggest purity and safety. I don't know. It's okay. Moth is dead. Spider. Flower. I honestly don't know how to respond to this question. Let's go to 3 and come back to 2.
Actually, no, let's deal with 2 first, I'm going to go to 3.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure the significance of white is one that, like, having all of them the same color unifies all of them, but then 2, it also, like,
yeah, but they're such different things.
yeah, but I think it's trying to find, like, the comparison of all of them, like, trying to bring them all together. Like, hmm. Oh, okay, so we can start with the second part of the second question, where it's like the fact that the spider is dimpled and fat like a snowdrop. I think like just the fact that like like a spider, which is generally associated with something dangerous, is like considered like to be dimpled and fat, kind of like a snowman, but instead like a snowdrop. I think it makes it seem a bit less dangerous. And in the same way that the flower is called a heelal and is like innocent, it's just like um it just seems rather like it's not inconspicuous. What like harmless? Harmless, I think that's the word. That's what I think, at least. Okay.
I think that's the best way to put it because spiders are just freaky.
So is this
Okay,
basically
good.
just talking about like God's design, like how he designed like the spider to act like this and the flower to act like this? Like I don't understand
Uh,
the one's explaining.
yeah, I think it's something along the lines of that, and I also think that like there's a part where the end where it's like why is the design of darkness to Paul? if design govern in a thing so small. I feel like that line has a lot to do with like the whole like how the ironic, not ironic, but like the fact that like a spider, which is generally associated with black, it's white, and like instead of being like small, it's fat. I feel like design, like just yeah, I think it wants to point out like the irony of design. Okay, do you want to move on to number 3?
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to read it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. The argument from design that the manifest existence of design in the universe implies the great existence of a great designer was a favorite 18th century argument for the existence of God. What twist does Frost give the argument? What answer does he suggest to the question in lines 11 through 12? How comforting is the apparent concession in line 14?
Okay. In 11 to 12.
Thither.
Well, okay, so tell me if I'm interpreting this correctly. So, he's saying that like the existence of God is justified by the fact that like what else would make the spider go that high and then put the white moth like there on his web, right?
Basically, he's like, oh, God must have done it.
Yeah, and yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on, sorry.
No, I just don't understand what the darkness line means exactly. I felt like I did, but like, I'm kind of having like second thoughts. What do you think it means?
Design of darkness to appall. I'm trying to look it up. I didn't understand the ending part of it.
I'm not sure what darkness means, but maybe it's just like, okay, well, in the next one, he concedes that maybe God doesn't exist if it's such a small insignificant thing. Why would God take the time to do all that?
Wait, say that again?
Like in the last question of the third one, the one we're on, how comforting is the apparent concession in line 14? Like maybe he's admitting that, oh, maybe God doesn't exist. It's such like a small thing. Like why would he just put so much time or effort into putting a spider in that position and making it that color and putting it on a flower with a dead moth? Like just you're seeing things happen and that you can't really blame it on a force or a being that may or may not exist.
Okay. What do you think, Brian?
I'm trying to read this explanation right now. You know what thither means?
Thither?
Yeah.
No. What does it mean?
F-I-T-H-E-R?
Oh,
It
isn't
means
it like,
towards.
kind of like hither, except with a T in front of it?
I heard
Towards
fitting.
that place. That's literally what it means. It's like hither, but like not here, it's there.
I got a weird link when I looked up fitting.
I don't know. Maybe he's just questioning like God's intentions. Like, why does he like design like such darkness to happen in Mother Nature? But
Yeah.
why does it say the wayside blue and innocent heal all? But wasn't he describing the heal all as white? Like, how does he transition to blue?
Like,
Oh,
the
because
colors traditionally, like, the flower is like usually blue or violet.
yeah, like he's saying that like why is it like white when like they're usually blue, I think. Is that what he means?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a question 4?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on to Oh Sweet Spontaneous.
Sweet. Okay. Number one. I guess I'll read it. What metaphorical context is created by such words as doting, prurient, naughty, conceive, and others? What have the philosophers attempted to do, and to what purpose? 4, 6, 10.
Mostly spontaneous, doting. Wait, what does prurient mean?
Let me look.
Prurient means having or encouraging an excessive interest in sexual matters.
Pervert.
Okay. Um. Okay. Well, all of these words have to do with sexual relations, I think.
They're just like prying too much, like thinking too hard about stuff. That
No. That's. Wait, what are you talking about? Like, there's a
words like
reason.
prurient, naughty, and conceive. They're just like doting and
No, I feel like all of them have to do with like like sexual relations.
right.
Yeah, and that's like the metaphorical like context that they're making for like religion, science, and philosophy. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Isn't it a direct attack on religion, or is it just philosophy and religion in general?
Um, wait, say that again?
Is it an attack on religion in general?
No, it's not an attack on religion. It's just talking about how like philosophers tend to like I don't know like mess with kind of like each and every subject like this, and like I don't know.
Yeah, they're just
I
prying
guess
their hands everywhere, trying to pick apart everything.
it's like they're just like hooking up with different parts of like thought. What do you think?
That makes sense.
This is supposed to be a discussion, guys. Let's like keep on discussing. Number two, explain the incomparable slash couch of death. And the rhythmic lover.
Rhythmic lover.
Yeah, okay, so this is definitely about like a sexual relations in metaphorical, like in metaphor to like different like schools of thought.
Incomparable couch of death.
I'm not sure what incomparable couch of death, but rhythmic lover.
I think that
Well,
baby
That
can't
confirms
walk.
the sex thing.
I was just thinking, I don't know if like, oh, if a wife kicked out a husband and told him to sleep on sleep on the couch, that could,
Couch of death.
I don't know. It just seems like a couch of death. I don't know what other context there would be.
But that's like, if you're sleeping on the couch, you're not a rhythmic lover.
Yeah, I don't know. Something like that.
How is spring a response to the philosopher's attempts?
Spring.
Thou answerest them only with spring.
Well, I mean, spring is like the season of like birth, I guess. So I guess it has something to do with like the wordplay with like conceive and so on. What do you think?
Like,
Does it have to do with like religion and how spring is really important to them, or
I mean, like, I don't think this is limited to religion itself. I think it also has to do with like science and like philosophy and like just like the general nature of thought. And I feel like spring just represents like the byproduct of thought, like what comes out of it. What do you think?
I'm trying to like think of like yeah, I'm trying to think of the metaphorical meaning, but I'm not sure. It's for spring.
This is a very
Uh,
one-sided conversation, guys.
it's poetry, man.
Yeah, but this is a discussion.
I'm trying to think.
Are you trying
Yeah.
to? Okay, if you say so.
Pretty much nailed it. Spring is just season of birth. Violence.
Okay.
All right. When I heard the learned astronomer. what is that makes the speaker tired and sick?
I think it's just like the droning on of of the mathematics behind it instead of like
The
looking at
concept.
this instead of like the more abstractness of astronomy and like looking out the stars and stuff.
I feel like this is like the two different interpretations of like astronomy. One is like the science view, that while the other one is more like on the creative side, I guess. And I feel like just trying to interpret astronomy through a view that they don't accept just causes like lack of interest.
I mean, we're like talking about Walt Whitman here, like transcendentalist thought, and going off on like on number two, like gliding and wandering off just shows how like they don't want to like accept like conformity and they want to be able to use their imagination and truly like get one with nature.
They just want to
That's
start off and enjoy. They don't want to like pick it apart.
Hmm.
And in Dead Poet Society, how about this? The way they learn poetry is through that I forgot the name, but basically they have that little scale on that chart that shows like the value of a poem, and then the teacher's like, no, just read it and take what you can from it from your own lens.
Yeah.
Explain
Okay.
how. Go ahead.
Yeah. Read on. Yeah.
Okay. Explain how gliding and wandered off are contrasted to the astronomer's lecture. How is the phrase from time to time a denial of the validity of the scientific approach to the universe? What attitude is expressed by the speaker's perfect silence?
I feel like in terms of gliding and wandered off, it like is like not in the same context as like the structured nature of like astronomical like studies, and like how like from time to time isn't necessarily like astronomy in terms of like how people calculate the days that like comets and like the stars rotate, and like how everything in astronomy is about precision, and how this contrasts from the individual's like whimsical approach to the stars.
Much more like lax about it rather than just like strict. Just this is
More
that time. This is
chill.
that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, going off on that like perfect silence, like astronomers only like really look into like their telescopes when there's like a predicted event coming. And they have like all these mathematical calculations for like Halley's Comet and like the Perseid meteor shower. So instead of
It's all
that,
about,
just yeah.
so just about like gathering data and just like recording everything you can, making sure every bit of information is down, and
It's
then
more like it's more like just like forgetting all that and looking up in the stars and just enjoying it, just like finding your own discoveries instead of relying on like modern day technology.
there's no need to just write down everything you see. It's just look at the stars and chill.
Yeah. Okay. So both Whitman and Cummings present emotional objections to science and scientific
Scientific
attempts to
attempts to
explain.
explain nature.
How are these poems different in tone?
Well, I think like just looking at Oh Sweet, How Spontaneous, the way it's like formatted is just insane. Do you guys know why it's formatted like that?
Formatted like what?
Like when you look at Oh Sweet, Spontaneous in our book, like there's all these spaces and like indentations.
Yeah, I think it's just to like point out different parts and like just well, I think it's more to like separate different like words and phrases just to add a bit more emphasis. And also I feel like it's just to keep true to like the spontaneous mission statement of the
Nonconformist.
poem. And like I don't know, I feel like they want to get a more of an organic understanding of the world around them as opposed to like a structured like traditionalist view. That's like the whole transcendental way.
It's like I don't want to say hippie talk, but just like, but just
So
not.
like smart and not stoned hippie talk.
Yeah, like reasonably hippie.
Okay, so on the sonnet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just let's just go on to question 2, and then we can look up uh, the vocabulary as we go.
Okay. Well, I can just do the vocabulary now. Andromeda is that constellation slash princess that was like tied to some post as a sacrifice to some monster. I think Jason killed a monster. Not sure. And so it's just basically synonymous with sacrifice. King Midas is the guy with the golden touch, and meat in line 9 is just to draw the attention of. Yep, okay, so that covers the vocab.
My mic cut out for a second, sorry. Couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, I just went over the vocab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then
Okay,
number
then-
2, you want to go?
Yeah, so basically number 2 is how he's just describing how to write a good sonnet. So he makes a lot of emphasis on stress on stress syllables, and to make it like really melodious to the ear, attention meet, and on every chord and sound and syllables to be emphasized and considered.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. I agree with that. I'll just move on to the next one since I don't have anything to say with number 2. Unless, Jay, do you have anything to say? Hello?
No. Sorry, yeah, my audio being weird. It's like cutting in and out. No, I don't, we'll go on to 3.
Okay. The speaker compares poetry to a foot and a sonnet form to a sandal. What does he mean by suggesting that the sonnet sandal should be more interwoven and complete? Okay, well, other than like the giant like wordplay here, I'm talking about like, you know, like you have feet and meters and like sonnets and like how like you weave words together, just like straw sandals would be woven together. Other than that, I think that what he means by sonnet sandal should be more woven is that like the English letters, like the words that are used should like fit more and not like seem to be like separate feet. Like for example, when a human walks, he doesn't like think of each and every step separately, but rather like stepping together as like one
Synchronous.
motion. And I feel like that's what he means by woven. What do you think?
Just like sonnet just be like one synchronous like movement without hesitation.
Yeah. Brian, you have any?
I mean, like connecting with like question 4, I feel like the sonnets are not like it's too forced, and
Nice segue.
they try really hard to make it rhyme and stuff, but they're losing sight of like the interwovenness of the piece.
They're becoming like extremely robotic and like not free flowing.
I don't know. I feel like it's just a bit wordy. And it's not like a sandal. A sandal's supposed to be like simple.
Nothing,
That's what I think.
nothing complicated about a sandwich. Just put your foot in. That's it.
Yeah. To fit the naked foot of poesy. Anyways, that's Keats for you. John Keats.
Alright, sonnet. In line 12, Lura will tell Petrarch to put down his pen. The poem alludes to the Italian poet Francesco Petrarch, who wrote a sequence of sonnets to his idealized lady love Laura. What attitude does the speaker take toward Petrarch and the Petrarchan sonnet?
Well, considering like this entire sonnet's kind of like satirical, and like starting out with like, oh, all we need is 14 lines, well,
Oh, it's like
13 now.
self-aware.
Yeah, like I feel like in the sense that he's telling that Laura will like tell Petrarch to put down his pen is like basically like Laura's telling Petrarch to chill
Yeah, it's just like
and just like be a bit more organic about the way that he talks about things instead of like doing it the way that you would write it. Maybe just like write down as you would like say it.
yeah, like don't force it, let it come to you.
Yeah, because like when you put down your pen, you usually start talking, right?
Yeah.
At least I do. So yeah.
Okay. The phrase "love storm tossed seas" is a deliberate cliche. Why is the cliche appropriate here? Los Tossis. Okay.
I feel like cliches are always our cliches are perfectly like normal in this piece simply because this piece is kind of satirical and just like kind of makes fun of every cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
It's
think so
satire.
too. Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
because like you're like taking these little cliches and you're talking about how like there's only 10 more lines left like rows of beans and like it's just kind of like oh how like all these cliches are being used just to take up space in lines but not actually meaning anything.
It's just
And I
filler.
feel like it's making fun of that.
It's like these cliches are like the cheap way out of actually writing something good.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of movies aren't getting away. I guess I can like, apply this to like film. Like
yeah.
movies aren't able to get away with cliches because people are aware of the
That's
fact
why
that,
we keep on having sequels and remakes of everything.
but they make money sometimes. So
Oh, they make a hell of a lot of money.
So when you
Maybe,
tie it to like,
yeah, okay.
sorry. So yeah, when you tie it to like rows of beans and iambic bongos, is it just like making fun, like saying talk comparing like such a structured thing like the Petrarchian sonnet to like a row of beans
Something
and
like regular.
like is it used as like as I don't know like satirical way, like negative way when it's saying that?
just like
Yeah,
counting beans.
I feel like the reason they use these like descriptions is simply because like we can imagine them because like most everybody's seen bongos and beans before, right?
Yeah,
And it's just like it's not new. It's just like the regular.
just an object. There's nothing like inherently interesting about beans and bongos.
No, I just think it's like it's out of place. That's what he's trying to say, like something as weird as beans, comparing it to this sonnet thing.
I
So
feel like beans. I feel like the bongos make it seem like like unusual, whereas beans just make it seem insignificant.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that just like helps create the speaker's voice. Okay, so number four is while this and the preceding poem differ greatly in language and emotion, they may be compared as statements about the sonnet. What are their essential ideas about this poetic form?
I mean, they're both like being really critical about the emphasis of I don't know, like the structure of the sonnet. Really, like on the sonnet is like criticizing like the dull rhymes. Our English must be chained, while this one is emphasizing about how you need to like fill in like this exact amount of spaces to get a perfect sonnet or something.
Yeah, I feel like both poems focus on like developing meaning as opposed to like using like formulaic language and like descriptions and like references to like Greek and like Latin stories.
On the sonnet's like a more of like a commentary, and it's kind of on the more serious side, and the sonnet is just like parodic. It's like self-aware. They're both commentary in the sense that they're like poking fun at something, but like sonnet is just more like kind of lighthearted approach, where it's just
Yeah,
person
I
is
agree with that.
self-aware.
Okay,
All right,
moving on. Southern history.
yeah, like I saw.
Okay, yeah.
Is the history teacher African American? Is he presenting his own attitudes or those he's expected to teach? If the speaker can detect the lie in the lesson, can the teacher? Probably the teacher is smart enough to know that he's just spewing something that he most likely doesn't agree with.
Wait, is the teacher African American?
I think so, but yeah, he's not like presenting his own attitudes.
I think he's white because he's just like reading off a textbook and just not minding anything, nor does the class.
I don't know. The thing is like
Yeah, well, I think like just like the bigoted nature of like the what the teacher's saying of the old South, the true account of how things were back then, with like a picture of a slave,
you
it
might be
just
right.
seems kind of like racist and like not to be racist in turn, but like, I feel like that's what like a good old Southern white person would do.
I mean, it's written 1966, so
Exactly. Right before civil rights.
For
But at the same time, at the bottom, the last two lines, this is our textbooks grading proof. A lie my teacher guarded, silent, so did I. So I mean, I think they share like that they're both black. I mean, the teachers
No,
is just.
I don't think the teacher's black though.
So you think? So what does the last line mean? A lie my teacher
Because like
guarded.
the teacher.
the
So
toss of
okay, Jay, I can't hear you first of all, and yeah, so like speaker something, and
Hello?
what I thought it meant was that like the teacher, so like the textbook, it has like a grinning proof, which is like a lie, like it's not true, and but the teacher upholds that lie and thus guards it, but then like by the narrator by like not speaking out against it helps guard it by being silent, by being like a bystander. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess.
Speaker's
Yeah.
black.
So I mean, that ties on to the next question about why do none of the students disagree with the lesson? How does the speaker feel about herself?
I feel like the speaker is just like unsure of what's like right or wrong, and thus just like lets whatever happen happen. Kind of like fiat, let it be done.
She's just pretty passive about the whole thing. Like, this is what we're learning. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I mean, what is she gonna say that? Because she's just a student. Like, compared to the teacher, what does she know?
exactly. Okay, so is there a next question?
Nope.
Kentucky.
Okay, so Kentucky, 1833.
Prose poem. The speak. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
It was kind of rough at the beginning, but I can hear you now.
Okay. In this prose poem, the speaker is remembering an experience of a group of slaves. Is the experience good or bad? Find details that support both impressions. I think.
Okay, well, roughhousing just sounds kind of fun, and like I don't know, everybody clapping and shouting and like gathering around the banjo player seems like a communal like gathering. Does that make sense?
Just his approach means that there's no structure to it, alright?
Prose is
Yeah.
just like a poem that doesn't have conventional like. It's just not a poem, but it is a poem.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think the experience is good. Like even though like it's like kind of like bad things going on, like people gambling, betting on like
Ending on
fighting. I still feel like the approach, like the interpretation from the narrator is good simply because it describes it as kind of everybody having fun and like people drinking, having gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so do you think it justifies calling it a poem based on the imagery?
Um, Nice way to tie it to number two. But
Segue of the year.
I think that the image justifies calling it a poem simply because I think a poem can be any group of words. Like, let's be real. You can have like 3 words and call it a haiku. Just kidding. It had to be longer than that. But like, you get the point.
I mean, there's still structure. There's still structure to it. Like in the middle it says kicking, butting, and scuffling. The winner gets the dram. Like there's a sense of rhythm throughout the poem, but I still think it's more of like a text and like a work of like journal writing or something. I don't think I would call it a poem.
The definition of a poem, like you can get away with a lot and still call it a poem.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, honestly, like a lot people get away with a lot of stuff and they call it art.
So moving on. Does poem represent a more or less moving condemnation of slavery than
Otherwise,
Okay, there you go. What do you think?
it's not even right. I mean, I think less because I don't know why. It's like it's making it seem like the slaves are having fun, like they're chill with Sunday. Like we get to punch each other in the face, alcohol, gambling,
Hmm.
chilling in the sun, and in the Southern history, it's just
I still don't get Southern history.
they're getting lied to.
Is Trethaway apathetic to the situation, or is she like low key like pissed off about it?
I think she doesn't have a fully formed opinion and thus stays quiet about it.
But she has that doubt, and she's like wondering why other people aren't speaking up, and like her
Yeah,
teacher's just going with the flow. So I'm thinking she's like low key, like, yo, what are we doing? I don't understand this.
yeah. I don't think Dove's poem like condemns slavery by chance. It just describes like the conditions from like someone who doesn't understand what's actually going on's perspective.
Yeah. All right. Is that one good?
Yeah.
All right. The lamb. Question number one. Why does the speaker address the little lamb directly? What effect does the poem gain from use
I think
apostrophe?
I think it's kind of like an ode. Like a lot of odes poems, like they address the subject directly, like praising it throughout.
Yeah, I agree. Um,
Like, this is for you, little lamb.
yeah. Hey, wait, can you guys discuss this poem for a second? My foot's bleeding. Just go get a band-aid real quick.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
just keep on discussing.
Okay, so what effects does this poem gain from this use of apostrophe? Apostrophe means it's like calling out a name directly, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just confirm real quick. Apostrophe.
I think when it says apostrophe, I mean it just brings you on like on a more personal level with the poem. Like when you're just addressing the little lamb who made thee, it's like this really tight knit connection between the poet and the subject.
Yeah, just like it's a more personal touch. I think you said that when you would call someone out. Like, say for example, if you're like in class, right, and you're talking, and if people are talking, and teacher's like, "Yo, be quiet," not as personal as, "Hey, Jay, be quiet." Calling you directly has that like effect, especially on one person. It's like, "Yo, you specifically." I don't know if I'm making sense there.
Okay, so like for when it's addressing like Little Lamb, like moving on to question two, like what's the relation between the two stanzas? Like near the end of the second stanza, he's comparing Little Lamb to people, and then the speaker himself is a lamb. So is it saying like they're lambs of God in a sense? Like when
I
you're
don't know.
comparing
Stuff's kicking off back there.
like when you're comparing like lamb, is it a metaphorical sense comparing lamb to actual people, or is it actually referring to a lamb? That's what I'm
Isn't there
confused.
something in the Bible about a lamb?
Yeah. So like in the Bible, they compare a lot about like how we are the sheep, and then how God is like the pastor or something. So is the illusion consistent throughout, or is the beginning addressing an actual lamb?
I think you might be onto something with just like everyone's a lamb.
So yeah, what is the significance of the lamb imagery, and what connotations does it have? I feel like when you call someone a lamb, like it doesn't mean like you're weak and you're. It just means like you're innocent and you're still like open to new experiences, I guess. And it talks about like soft as clothing, woolly bright. So just it emphasizes like this
Child.
innocence. What?
Almost like a child. Like little lamb is just like a kid.
So it emphasizes this like innocence and purity about yourself. And when he compares himself to a little lamb, that means it's showing like how he needs a guardian. And that's why I think it says, God bless thee. So now he's making a connection to God, that we are called by his name.
Maybe this lamb is being baptized.
What?
I don't know. I thought I had something there.
Okay, let's go to the tiger now.
Purified, right?
What?
Aren't you being like purified when you get baptized?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
You missed it.
Okay, we can go to the tiger now.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's all good.
I said some times.
Okay,
Alright,
tiger.
Eye of the tiger.
So discuss the relationship between the poem and the last one, the lamb. How do the poems make a distinctive and meaningful pairing? Well, to start off, they're both odes to two different animals.
Yeah, and they're like completely different. Like one's at the top of the food chain, one's just like, yeah.
And one's like the predator, and one's like just like the innocent like prey. I feel like two have like different roles in their ecosystems. I feel like that's
Tiger's
very
the
important.
apex predator.
Hmm?
Tiger's like the apex predator. Like there's nothing above it.
Humans.
I'm just thinking in the realm of like animals.
I mean, it's
Like
interesting how both of them are characterized by rhetorical questions. Like, who is it addressed to? Is it addressed to the animals themselves?
like Brian, real quick before we go on, Brian Lee, like humans are chilling with tigers.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
Brian Lee, could you repeat that? Sorry.
Wait, what?
Um, other
Who
Brian
are
said
who are
something.
the questions addressed to? Are they addressed to the creator, like God himself,
Wait, what
or is
question are
it?
we on?
Oh, we're on number one.
Tiger.
I'm asking about the rhetorical questions in both of the poems. So like, there's a lot of poems. I mean, there's a lot of rhetorical questions like the tiger, like on what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? Like,
Okay.
are these addressed to the audience, the speaker, or to like the creator or some sort?
I think they're rhetorical in my opinion.
Okay.
It's just acknowledging like these like different characteristics of the tiger.
Okay, so yeah, that ties to question two. Like, what is the meaning of these various questions the speaker asks of the tiger? What are implications? I think he's just full of awe of how like detailed and how refined each animal is. Like for the tiger, like dare its deadly terrors clasp, and it just really emphasizes like the attributes of it, like the fearful frame, the fire in the eyes.
It glorifies the tiger.
I think there's
Yeah.
like hope for like there's hope and there's fear for the tiger, but like reverence type of fear for the tiger.
Yep. Okay. So, what is the symbolic meaning of the tiger? What connotations are associated with the symbol?
Tiger, you assume just like dominance, right?
Yeah, tigers are supposed to be like powerful, but like they're supposed to be like merciful in a way, I think.
But like no one's like not scared of a tiger. You see a tiger and you're just like, oh,
Tigers
let-
are also supposed to be like really smart. It's like the Chinese zodiac. You know, we're year of the tiger.
I'm a dragon, so.
Wait, really?
Whoa, what year is dragon again?
Not 98.
Not 2000.
Oh, well, I think I'm an ox then.
What year were you born?
98.
98's a tiger.
98's all tiger.
Do you know your zodiacs, bruh?
No,
Well, anyways, so learn your zodiac. We're a tiger.
so we're all tigers then.
Yes, we're all tigers.
Everyone in our class is a tiger,
Yes,
No,
except for
and
people.
oxes.
except for Jessica, who's like, I don't know.
Okay, we'll move. Okay, so like just like the tiger like is attributed to dominance and leadership because it's the king of the jungle and fearful. Okay,
Yeah.
are we good now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that all?
to the end
Yeah.
podcast.
You want to end the broadcast?
Yeah.
I see. Ya.